Veronica Vanderhall is a 14-year-old high school student who has a rebellious nature and an I don't give a frick attitude. She never listens to her teachers or her parents, often gets into arguments with her friends, and gets the lowest grades in class. However, Veronica was not always like this. Until 1 year ago, she was a fun-loving, caring, and intelligent girl who was one of the class toppers. But during summer holidays, she met some new friends and learned about the ecological problems like global warming, deforestation, and so on. Now Veronica has become an aggressive vegan. Oh dear. She also incites regular protests in her school against the usage of animal products, plastic, and other stuff which she is totally against. All the teachers, students, and even her parents are fed up with her antics. However, Veronica could care less. She is adamant on forcing her ideologies onto other students, whether they want them or not. She should just throw some tomato sauce on a painting. That'll do the trick. Unfortunately for her, one day, she is summoned to the principal's office and given a lecture about her degrading grades and bad attitude. Veronica still doesn't pay attention and continues acting smart, so the principal suspends her for an indefinite period. Finally, the spoiled teenager realizes the gravity of the situation and tries to apologize, but it's too late. The principal has already made up her mind and she won't change it for anything. Later, at home, Veronica has to hear another lecture session, this time by her parents. They explain how she has completely changed in the last year and that sometimes it feels as if someone has kidnapped their daughter and replaced her with an imposter. The parents also mention how Veronica used to play with them, go places with them, and even snuggle at night with them. I mean, she probably shouldn't do that anymore. But now she is a shadow of the person she used to be. Then, Veronica's dad brings out a pamphlet of a certain institution named Miss Genevieve's School for Difficult Girls, which apparently specializes in disciplining girls with differences in social behaviors.
If you're a vegan, we're gonna force feed you meat.
In other words, this school is an expert in straightening out spoiled girls. Veronica takes a good look at the pamphlet and says that she doesn't want to go. However, the parents make her understand that she doesn't have much of a choice. The following day, they drive their daughter to Miss Genevieve's School for Difficult Girls. The main building looks like a gothic castle, and the principal of the school is none other than Miss Genevieve. Moreover, all the students have the same eerie haircut, and it appears as if they are not normal. After a while, Miss Genevieve meets Veronica's parents and assures them that she will discipline their girl and send her back home in a few months. She also reveals that she has straightened out more than 1,000 girls during her tenure here. No matter how rebellious or arrogant they are, Miss Genevieve always finds a way to help them. Meanwhile, Veronica's mom finally brings up the question why all the girls in the school have the same haircut. With a menacing stare, Miss Genevieve replies that the haircut is simply an extension of their uniform, which signifies simplicity, obedience, and honesty, as well as bad taste. According to her, the young mind is a sponge, and the girls come here soaked in bad habits. All she has to do is give them a little squeeze. Just then, a girl named Heather Corbett arrives, and Miss Genevieve introduces her as Veronica's roommate. Heather quickly charms Mr. and Mrs. Vanderhall by greeting them politely, but soon she whispers something into Miss Genevieve's ear. It turns out that she has ratted on Veronica for chewing gum, something which is strictly prohibited inside the school premises. Miss Genevieve points the rule out and tells Veronica to take the gum out. However, the latter shows her rebellious nature by sticking it to a nearby pole.
Badass.
After a while, Veronica's parents depart and Heather escorts her to their room. It is a dark and gloomy looking room which consists of only 2 beds, a table, and an alarm clock. As Veronica is unpacking, Heather politely offers to help but gets declined. Veronica then chastises her for ratting her out earlier. She also asks Heather to cut the act, as their creepy principal is not here anymore. However, to her surprise, Heather mentions that she is just following the rules and that she will continue doing so until they are inside the school premises. Weirded out by her behavior, Veronica aims to relax by listening to some music on her MP3 speaker, but even this time, Heather intervenes. She quickly turns off the speaker and warns Veronica that music is not allowed here. Before leaving, she also says that Mr. Welch will be giving her a new haircut soon. Something about that sounds so gross. The next morning, Veronica is woken up sharp at 5 a.m. by a combination of the alarm clock and Heather. Still sleepy, she gets dressed in her school uniform and heads to the canteen, where all the girls are enjoying their breakfast and chattering. The strange thing is that none of them are shouting and laughing like normal girls their age would normally do. They also appear to be dull and lethargic, almost as if they are robots. Meanwhile, Veronica goes to the counter for some food, but learns that they only serve sausage and bacon. Oh no. This means that she will have to change her vegan lifestyle from now on. The scene then cuts to the class where a male history teacher, David, is explaining different events from the past where children disobeyed their parents and got punished. It turns out that in this school, even all the class classes are designed to brainwash the students to be obedient and polite. Veronica finds the information very false and interrupts David, saying children have every right to be impolite because their age makes them immature and carefree. Hearing this, the entire class becomes shocked, as this is the first time someone has contradicted their teacher. However, David calms them down, mentioning that Veronica will soon become polite. Before the class ends, he also asks her why she hasn't gotten her haircut yet. Shortly after, Veronica is wandering around the playground when Miss Genevieve summons her to her office. On reaching there, she notices the barber, Mr. Welch, waiting for her. Surprisingly, he starts taking measurements of her head and even asks her age, something which is definitely not required for a haircut. After noting down all the details, Mr. Welch mentions that he won't be able to book a haircut appointment until at least the next week, as he is totally busy for the next few days. However, when Miss Genevieve insists, he cancels one appointment and promises to give Veronica a haircut the following day. At this point, Veronica has started to realize that something is really wrong with this school. They don't even have iPads so that the teachers don't have to do their jobs. Hence, at midnight, while her roommate is asleep, she packs her belongings and prepares to escape the school. But as soon as she gets out of the main door, a fellow student named Claire stops her, revealing that it's not easy to escape the place. There are electric fences surrounding the school, and on the road, several guards are always patrolling. Following this, the two introduce themselves, and Claire takes Veronica to her room. There, she shows her the sketches of two former students who apparently tried to escape, but were caught. They had calculated all the movements of the guards, but despite this, they were still caught. They were probably turned into piggies too, and made into bacon. After the revelation, Claire tells Veronica that she doesn't have much time left, as her haircut is scheduled for the next day. She claims that the haircut is what changes the students into dull robots. Veronica is obviously confused by all this, so Claire decides to show her something. She leads her through a secret tunnel, and soon, they reach a room where Miss Genevieve, Mr. Welch, and another student are present. The student is tied to a chair, and she keeps asking to be released, but Miss Genevieve is unfazed. All she says is, "Don't worry, my child. You will be polite in no time." Saying this, she orders the barber, Dr. Welch, to initiate the process. As the tied-up student screams in fear, he puts a strange helmet on her head and starts giving her a haircut. After a while, her hairstyle is changed, and so is her behavior. The girl, who was rebellious, arrogant, and rude just a few minutes ago, has now become calm and polite. Veronica, who is watching from a distance with Claire, finally understands how the students are straightened out here. She does? That tech makes no sense. Meanwhile, Claire reveals that she fractured her head when she was a child, and a metal plate had to be put inside her head as a precaution. This plate apparently saved her from turning into one of those dull students when she got a haircut last year. Later, as the two continue talking, Claire mentions the reason why she doesn't want to escape. She and her sister both arrived at the school on the same day, but only she retained her sanity. Now, if she leaves alone, she fears that Miss Genevieve will harm her sister. Hearing all this, Veronica promises to come up with a plan to release all the students from the spell that is constricting them. The following morning at the canteen, she tries to encourage the students to be rebellious by whistling, but ends up getting reprimanded by Miss Genevieve. During their conversation, Veronica accidentally reveals that she and Claire witnessed the haircut session of a fellow student. This angers Miss Genevieve, and she promises to change Veronica for good in the evening. A few hours later, a scared Veronica rushes to her only friend Claire's room, only to find out that she has gotten a brand new haircut. It turns out that after Veronica inadvertently revealed that they were spying on Mr. Welch the other night, Miss Genevieve approached Claire, removed the metal plate from the head, and gave her another haircut. Now she is emotionless and dull like all the other students. With this, Veronica's only hope of escaping the wretched school is gone. Feeling sorry for herself instead of feeling guilty for getting her only friend lobotomized. Classic Veronica. Later, she lies in her bed, waiting for Miss Genevieve to take her away and change her forever. Meanwhile, her roommate Heather arrives and mentions that it's supper time, so they should go. However, Veronica is in no mood. Instead, she starts talking about her childhood days, where she used to be happy and didn't care a bit about what was happening in the world. She then asks Heather about what it's like to live a boring and controlled life, but as expected, the latter doesn't understand a word she is saying. Despite this, Veronica decides to give her roommate a parting gift. She brings out her MP3 speaker and hands it to Heather, who is speechless throughout the encounter. In the background, some static noises can be heard, implying that Heather is trying to recall her past memories. Suddenly, she presses a button on the speaker, and a pop song starts playing. Heather feels excruciating pain in her ears, but after a while, she calms down. Surprisingly, she has regained her sanity and all the memories that she had before the haircut. In fact, she doesn't even remember how she ended up in this school. This makes Veronica very happy, as she has finally found an antidote to cure the sick students. Holy crap, crap, Nicki Minaj is good for something. Hence, without wasting any time, she starts plotting something with Heather. After a while, she goes to Miss Genevieve's office and mentions that she is ready for the haircut. The two then head towards Mr. Welch's barbershop, but along the way, Veronica changes her attitude and starts insulting Miss Genevieve. At the same time, she signals her roommate to initiate their plan. Heather, who is actually in Miss Genevieve's office, brings out the MP3 speaker and puts it right next to a microphone. Then she turns on the speaker, and the same pop song from earlier starts blasting from all the announcement devices in the school. At first, all the students are deeply affected by the music, but soon, they turn into their real selves. Claire, who is in the canteen, finally reconvenes with her sister after a year. In the final scene, all the girls come out on the playground, screaming and having fun like normal teenagers do. Miss Genevieve tries to order them back inside their rooms, but to no avail. With the spell now broken, the girls are wild and carefree, as they should be. The movie ends as all the students, including Veronica, Heather, and Claire, run towards the exit gate of the school, probably about to get mowed down by the guards. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.